My room is like 50% rabbit cage. Hey, my name is Shudif and you're watching my video, and today I will talk all about how I got a new bunny, how I upgraded my bunny's enclosure or cage or whatever you want to call it, and I will talk all about the bonding process between my bunny and the new bunny that I got. So first of all, before we start this video, I just want to ask you, do you like the setup? Because I didn't really want to clean up my bed because my cat is sleeping in it, and also because we're gonna talk about my bunnies anyways, I thought it would be kind of nice to see like the bunny enclosure right behind me, because I'm gonna show you later, but I literally have bunnies hopping like nearly around me when I'm sitting in front of my PC because of how I upgraded the enclosure. So first of all, let's talk about upgrading and making the enclosure bigger. Why did I do it? Well, basically because the organization or kind of shelter or whatever where I got the bunny from obviously cares a lot about bunnies, and they want to make sure that they have the best possible home. So their minimum requirement for 2 bunnies is 4 square meters, which is also like kind of like the law in Austria for how to keep bunnies. It does really make sense, and I'm not being all bitchy like, I had to make the enclosure bigger. But my enclosure before I upgraded it was only about like a bit over 3 square meters. So I had to really go in and plan how to make it bigger, because the space in my room is very limited, so I really had to think about how to make it bigger. But I think I managed to do it quite well. You can see how the cage now kind of goes around my computer desk, like not really desk, but my seat in front of my computer. I just extended it all the way to my bed. I now have all the bedding just standing around in my room. My room is a mess right now. So the next thing the lady from there asked me to do was to take off the lid of the big cage. Like that's like one of the biggest cages you get in PetSmart as like an emergency cage. He had to be in there for a few weeks, and so he got really used to it. So when I brought him to Vienna, I thought it would be nice to have the cage and the outside area so he can go back in the cage, which was his comfort zone. But the lady told me to take off the lid, first of all because if the bunny tries to jump on top of it, he might like break his leg or something, or get stuck in the grid and then break his leg or something, and that's really painful for rabbits and really a hard recovery. And also because if there's this whole grid and then there's just one little like door, it could be that the new rabbit that we got, which is a female rabbit, would like see this whole thing as her nest and would not let my bunny get in until they're bonded. And therefore she was like, it's just better if I take it off completely, and so that's what I did. So yeah, the next thing she told me I should do with my cage before we could bond them. Usually when you bond rabbits, you should do it on neutral ground, build up a temporary new cage which your bunny has never been in, and obviously the new bunny also never has been in, and then you keep them in there for a few weeks until they're bonded. Because if you're gonna set a rabbit into an enclosure where your old rabbit already was living for a time, it could be that your old rabbit is gonna be very territorial and just wants to fight the new rabbit simply because it's like an intruder in his own space. I do not have the space in my little shared apartment. I only have one room for myself where I can build up a rabbit's cage. As you already saw, my room is like 50% rabbit cage, so there's no way I could build up a second cage big enough to bond them in. So I talked to this with the lady, and we were both agreeing that the best thing we could do was that I take my bunny with me when I go get the new rabbit, and we just let them get to know each other there for a few hours. So we just let them chill there. But what I wanted to say before I got into the whole how the bonding situation got up, so she also told me that I should get out all the rugs and completely clean the whole cage to make it smell neutral and not smell like my old rabbit anymore, to make it as neutral as possible. I mean, of course my rabbit is still gonna recognize his old cage, but it's not gonna just smell like him, and she's not gonna be that much of an intruder if the whole cage just smells neutral. So that's what I did. That's why I got new rugs, and now I have like these really colorful rugs in there, and I think they look really cool. So for the bonding process, because I did not have a neutral habitat for them for the bonding process, the lady where I got the rabbit from and we both agreed that the best solution would be that I take my rabbit when I go get the new rabbit, and we just let them chill there, because she was like she could probably set up something in the hallway where they could, where, you know, it's bunny proof because her whole apartment is bunny proof, and where they can just get to know each other for a few hours, and we're gonna see it in the first half an hour probably if they're gonna like each other or if they're gonna completely hate each other and just wanna kill each other. So we got there. I got there with my bunny. It was a 20 hours car drive. It wasn't too bad. And then my bunny like did not care at all about the new rabbit at first, because he just cared about the food that was lying around there, because she was just offering the bunnies a bit of food to eat while they were bonding, and my bunny at first just completely ignored the new bunny and just ate. I sadly did not record anything of the bonding process there, because I was in her apartment and I did not feel comfortable enough asking her if I could film in her apartment the bunny bonding process, and also it really was not that interesting. They were both pretty chill. They never fought any, like, usual bonding behavior. We never saw anything of that. They legit started cuddling right away. She started licking his face right away, and they looked like a happy bunny couple. So then I went and, you know, did all the paperwork to adopt the rabbit, and then we put them in the same carrier box and I drove home with both of them. And I was very happy that it all worked out, because the bunny that I adopted has kind of a sad story, so I will just kind of summarize it all for you. I don't know the whole extent of the story, but on their page they had this little story thing for each bunny, and basically she was rescued from a really bad situation. She was in a room kept with 30 other rabbits, and the room was not cleaned in whatever time, because the whole wood flooring was just wet with pee, and all the rabbits had all kinds of infections and illnesses because their cage, like their room, was so dirty all the time and never got cleaned. So she was actually one that had it really bad. She had this really big infection all over her back, and it was like a very complicated surgery to get it all removed and to get it well again, and then give her the medicine and everything. But now that I got her, everything is fine. You don't even see anything, like the fur grew over the back again and everything is fine. She's such a sweetheart, honestly. So when I brought a new bunny home, I obviously put them in the cage, and they both started exploring the cage, because for my bunny a lot of things were new. And also the lady there gave me this one thing from her cage that they also had standing around while they were bonding, so that she had something that smelled like her home and like her, and she could recognize. Also, it's the perfect hide, like if anyone is looking for some really cool cheap DIY hides. This is like perfect. She explained it to me why it's so perfect, because it's simply just a board with, it's like a mini table, and basically you put a blanket over it so they have a hide. They can just run around. It doesn't take up a lot of space. Like if you have a house built for your rabbit, the rabbits can only run around the house or like through the house, but like it takes up a lot of the flooring space. And this one does not, because it doesn't have walls, but it just has this little stand from the table, so that's really awesome. And when I first let them out, they were again really nice to each other for like an hour or something, and then they started kind of fighting. Like, it's not, the thing we both were most afraid of was basically that my bunny would get territorial in his own cage because she's an intruder, which wasn't the case because he was so sweet to her and he did not fight her or anything, but she would chase him around the whole cage and always chase him away everywhere she wanted to go. And so the first night I had my buddies, I did not get any sleep at all. I was woken up at least 2 times an hour for the whole night, simply because she started chasing him around the cage again, and it wasn't really a lot of fighting, so I was fine with it. They never bit each other too much. She maybe pulled some of his hair off when she was biting him, but never to the extent where he would start bleeding or something serious. So it was just normal behavior for rabbits to bond, and I just had to deal with not getting any sleep for the first day. And honestly, I was so frustrated. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but it's so funny because on the first day I was so frustrated. They just kept fighting. At least every 20 to 30 minutes they would start fighting again. Like, she would start chasing him away from where he was just chilling and being a nice little bunny. I was feeling so sorry for my bunny because obviously I already had him for 6 years and I love him a lot, and now she just is a total bitch to him and starts chasing him around his own cage, and I was just like, I don't want this. And it's like really painful as a bunny owner to have a new rabbit hurt your rabbit. Like, he wasn't really that hurt, like it was just natural behavior, and I knew that, so I knew I should not interfere and I should just let them fight it out and deal with it as long as it doesn't get too brutal. And yeah, it was just very frustrating for me because I love my bunny so much. And then the second day, suddenly in the night I didn't get woken up a lot, and the thing was, she would always chase him away, and then she would come to him and start licking his face again, which is a sign of affection. So it was kind of weird for him because she would 1 minute be super sweet to him and lick his face, and then she'd no, I got enough of you, and then she'd chase him away and bite him in his butt again. But yeah. So the next day, basically, I accidentally fell over a bag that was standing in my room because my room is a mess right now, and it was kind of noisy, so my bunny got really scared. So she would all the time just chill under the hide that the woman from there gave me that smelled like her home, and whenever he wanted to go to chill there too, she would chase him away immediately. So then this day, when I kicked my bag and was really loud, he ran up to her again to get her in the shelter, and she would just let him chill there, and they were cuddling, and then this amazing picture happened, and ever since then they're really sweet. I mean, sometimes he tries to hump her and then she's not a big fan of that and just chases him away again, but it's not it's normal rabbit behavior, and I'm so glad that it all happened so fast, that they bonded so fast. It's legit day 3 now, and they seem like happy bunnies together. I also noticed that my bunny is hopping around way more, being more active, just looks really happy all the time. Also his body language, he's just a very happy bunny. I filmed a bit of sweet moments where they licked each other's faces and whatnot. The last thing I wanted to talk about in this video was all the changes I did to the cage, and also to I had also some changes in the diet because she never got any pellets or any dry food where she lived her whole life, and so I thought it would not be very beneficial to give her dry food right away. So she was used to getting a salad in the morning and a salad in the evening. So I did the same thing on the first day. Instead of giving my bunny pellets, I gave him a second salad, both of them. And then I just thought about it because the lady told me that you could you don't have to be too careful about giving them too many apples or carrots because they're high in sugar, but you should be careful with like pellets and dried foods, because that's the thing that gets a bunny fat, and like it doesn't make sense. So I kind of changed up the diet, and now they only get pellets as like treats. Like I will show you right now. I have this roll that I fill up with a few of pellets, and then I have this ball that they have to roll around to get the pellets out, and fill that up. Like I don't fill it up with pellets. I take like not even 1 tablespoon a day and put pellets in at the evening right before I go to bed, so they have something to do when they're active, when I want to go to bed. Another thing it changed about the cage is the hay. I got rid of both of my hay racks because she just used to eat the hay off the ground her whole life, so for her it would be very unnatural to eat hay off a hay rack, while my bunny was used to a hay rack his whole life but never really ate that much hay. So I kind of put the hay on the ground of above the big cage and the little litter box, and both of that, like she obviously ate a lot of hay already, but then my bunny also started to eat way more hay. So for anyone who struggles with their bunnies not eating that much hay, you can just put the hay on the ground. It's way more natural for the rabbit. They will not eat the hay that they peed or pooped on. They will only eat the fresh hay. Maybe you will have to throw some hay out, but honestly it's worth it because it's very important for the teeth of your rabbits, and so you can just buy a little more hay instead of going to the dentist with your rabbit. I think that's all I wanted to say. So what you probably want to know is the name and the age of both of my rabbits. So the rabbit I had for a long time, he's a male, he's 6 years old, and his name is Fluffy, and I love him so much. He was my first bunny. The rabbit I got from the rescue, her name is Carol. She is 2 or 3 years old. They don't really know it that well. And she's also like not one specific breed because the rabbits in that home just started breeding, and so she kind of has a weird like fringe going on, and I love that. Yeah, my bunnies are very happy right now. I'm very happy that they got along so well so fast, because now today when I have to go to work, I was like, on the first day I was kind of worried about my roommates having to be in my room all the time watching the rabbits not to kill each other. But right now I'm honestly comfortable leaving them for 3 hours alone and just going to work because they're so nice to each other. So if you have any more questions about my bunnies or anything else, just leave it down in the comments below. I would love to answer any questions you have and just talk to you about your rabbits or something. And yeah, I will see you soon with another new video.